When Jesus then was born at Bethlehem in Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is the King of the Jews that is born? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. 1599 Geneva Bible, chapter 2, verses 1 through 2 of St. Matthew. Welcome back to this seasonal series episode on the mystery, continuing to uncover the mystery of our ancestry. And today we are going to talk about Black people are Jew. Is that true? This is a follow-up on last week's cast on West Indians and early Christian roots, which was a prelude to this week's topic in response to a specific viewer request. And if you have any specific topics you'd like for us to cover here in future podcasts, just feel free to let us know in the comments what you're interested in learning more about. So there is news of Kanye West building a city in the Middle East. Check out our We News to find out a little bit more about that. And I wanted to do this podcast, as I said, in response to a viewer request to address Kanye's quote. This was the tweet from Kanye from October 8th, 2022. I actually can't be anti-Semitic, he says, because Black people are actually Jew. Is it true? Are West Indians, we West Indians, who are predominantly also Black people of the Americas, the Jews? I would like to read for you I'd like to read for you briefly a couple of fascinating quotes I have found on the topic. One is by William Penn, the founding father for early colonists of Pennsylvania. And here we have, there's much more than, of course, he's done, but that's, one of his major accolades. And here we have a quote from him in paragraph 11, which I will read. The natives I shall consider in their person, language, manners, religion, and government, with my sense of their original. For their persons, they are generally tall, straight, well-built, and of singular proportion. They tread strong and clever, and mostly walk with a lofty chin, of complexion black, but by design as the gypsies in England. They grease themselves with bear's fat clarified, and using no defense against sun and weather, their skins must needs be swarthy, their eyes little and black, not unlike a straight-looked Jew. The thick lip and flat nose, so frequent with the East Indians and Black, are not common to them, for I have seen as comely European-like faces among them of both sexes as on your side the sea, and truly an Italian complexion hath not much more of the white, and the noses of several of them have as much of the Roman. And I'd like to just describe swarthy generally meaning darker skinned. Essentially, what this is saying is that these people, and I believe he was describing the Lenape people, were of dark skin, black. However, they didn't look like the typical Black people for him, based on the shape of their lips and nose. And just in going back on who the Lenape were, they were the Delaware people, who were the indigenous people of the northeastern woodlands who lived in the United States. as well as in Canada. So here we have a description of these people as being dark-skinned, native people here. And then I'd like to read for you paragraph 26, where he goes into explaining where he thinks these people came from. Paragraph 26 by William Penn. For they are original, I am ready to believe them of the Jewish race. I mean of the stock of the 10 tribes, and that for the following reasons. First, they were to go to a land not planted nor known, which to be sure Asia and Africa were, if not Europe. And he who intended that extraordinary judgment upon them might make the passage not uneasy to them, as it is not impossible in itself for the easternmost parts of Asia to the westernmost of America. In the next place I find them of the like countenance, and their children of so lively resemblance, that a man would think himself in Duke's Place or Berry Street in London when he seeth them. But this is not at all. They agree in rites, they reckon by moons, they offer their first fruits, they have a kind of feast of tabernacles, they are said to lay their altar upon 12 stones, their mourning a year, customs of women, with many other things that do not now occur. So much of the natives. Next, the old planters will be considered in this relation before they come to our colony and the concerns of it. So essentially here he is saying, based on his observations of the native people, some of the native people, specifically the Lenape, they were very similar. They seemed to be of Jewish descent to him, and he was not alone in thinking so. There were several early colonizers who believed and felt that the native people were actually from the lost tribe of Israel. We have I'd like to speak about as well this, specifically the Book of Mormon, where they speak of a race of black people who were originally Israelite that lived, migrated to the Americas, where the state of New York is currently from Israel back around 600-ish BC, circa 600 BC. They were called the Lamanites in the Book of Mormon, and feel free to check that out and check out that book. It's has a lot of interesting information in there, and I'll leave the link below so you have access to that. Now, Christopher Columbus and his crew described the people as well when they arrived here in the Americas on their first trip to Hispaniola. And I'd just like to read from the Encyclopedia Britannica on what the impressions were of Christopher Columbus, as well as his crew being an early Indo-European explorer. It says, the admiral, being Christopher, decided that Hispaniola was indeed the biblical land of Sheba, and that Cuba was the mainland of Cathay being in China, or being China, based on what they're describing here. And what I find very fascinating, northern China, excuse me. What I find very fascinating about this is not so much as to whether he was actually in Sheba, Yemen, but that he actually thought that the people that he met in Hispaniola were of the kingdom of Sheba, which has traditionally been a kingdom of black people, black Semitic people, descendants of CUSH, the black. And feel free to watch my podcasts on Bathsheba, as well as Zipporah, the wife of Moses, and Zabiah, to learn more about the people of Sheba, and their relationship particularly to Judah. Since 1000 BC, Sheba and Judah have been united essentially into forming one nation over time. By 1492, at the time of Christopher Columbus and his crews landing in the West Indies, which was what all of the Americas at that time was called by the explorers, Sheba and Judah, would have already been won. Many West Indians are descendants of the captive races of the Americas who were indigenous Indians as well as African. Indigenous Indian as well as African descent, and particularly African being Northwest Africa, in fact, largely from the Gold Coast as well as the Slave Coast. In 1452, Roman Catholic Pope Nicholas V issued the Dum Diversas that condemned Saracens and pagans to perpetual servitude and landlessness. And you can see my video called on Harmony of Heritage, our West Indians, we West Indians, the early Christians, to learn more about that bull and the Saracens' connection to early Christians. Saracens were described by European writers of the 4th and the 5th early century as children of Ishmael, who was the son of Hagar the Egyptian and Abraham, patriarch of the Jews and Muslims of the Bible. However, the Saracens were also said to call themselves the children of Sarah, the matriarch of the Jews and Edomites, rather than Hagar the Egyptian. Whether Saracens were in fact descendants of Ishmael or Sarah, they were associated with the East, the Garden of Eden, and they were Hebrews, black Hebrews. But were they Jews? This is something we will endeavor to answer in the upcoming episodes. And check out Misstory of Our Ancestry, which explores our Sarasin Moor ancestors. It's a short book, very academic book filled with quotes and resources to help us unveil ourselves and the mystery of our ancestry. But for now, I leave you with this question to ponder during this holiday season. Who were the 3 wise men, the 3 magi from the East, bringing gold, frankincense, and myrrh to the birth of Christ? Give thanks. Peace.
Are you tired of working that 9 to 5? Gotta scrimp and save just to survive? Come get the tools you deserve to thrive when you decide to take the dive into the pursuit of your own bliss. Come learn how to start a business. For the book or the course, you just need to go to the website linked below. All brought to you care of Online Pro.
CUSH Cash Consulting is sure to result in your dreams coming alive as wealth multiplies for our scholars and investors. Come deal with the best of our budding entrepreneurs. Contact us to learn more at CUSH Cash Consulting. Email Morrison at cushcashconsulting.com and sign up for classes using the linked form. Give thanks.